Hello everybody. Today in the UK a book is being published called On the Origin of Time. It's by Thomas Hertog, and if it reminds you of another well-known scientific book, A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking, it's not surprising because it's based on research that Hertog did with Stephen Hawking in the 20 years before Hawking died. In 2002, Hertog was summoned to Stephen Hawking's laboratory, and Stephen Hawking told him through his computer-generated voice that he considered that his book, which sold 10 million copies around the world, about the origin of time, had been viewed, as he put it, from the wrong perspective. And they spent the 20 years together trying to find the correct perspective. And this book, On the Origin of Time by Thomas Hertog, is the result. What they are really trying to do, it appears, and this was something that Stephen Hawking was concerned about all his life, was to try and work out why it is that the universe is so constructed that it is so suitable for human life to develop. What is it about the way the world is made that makes it such a natural and congenial environment in so many ways for human life? It's a question that scientists ask, and justifiably so, and it's interesting that this is a why question, whereas most scientific questions are how questions. The why questions are normally left to the philosophers or to theologians, and Stephen Hawking is very dismissive of philosophers' attempts to describe why that is. He says, that philosophers are reduced to just discussing the meaning of words. He's very scathing about that. He doesn't even take theologians into his frame of reference. But I think that if we were to look, for example, at what Christians celebrate today, we might get a clue. Today is the day when Jesus meets with for the Last Supper with his disciples, this Maundy Thursday, and he says to them, "This is my body," and gives them the bread and the wine, and he is giving himself to them. It's an act of self-giving of the most extreme form when it ends up in his death on the cross. But this act of giving the bread and the wine is a symbolic way of saying, I am giving this for you. And if this is a description of the character of God, then perhaps we can say that God's concern, God's nature, is to be one of giving, one of self-giving. And maybe if we're looking for a religious reason why the world is so congenial to human beings in so many ways, the answer is that it was created by a God whose fundamental characteristic is the desire to give, to create an environment in which there are people to whom he can, or she can, God can give him herself to. And we celebrate that today, this Maundy Thursday, as we see it epitomised in Jesus, who gives himself to his disciples.